Well, I quite literally fell out of the sky, though not quite in the angelic sense. I was flying a little two-seat experimental home-built airplane, and the engine died right after takeoff, and I had to crash land it down in the Minnesota River Valley. And it unfortunately flipped over, ended up on my head with the airplane on top of me, and I broke my neck. So after that, a couple months, as I got out of ICU and I went into the rehabilitation center, the first day I met with the occupational therapist, they said, well, what are your goals? And I thought, well, that's refreshing. And I looked at the cell phone that was laying in my lap, and I couldn't pick it up. I couldn't hold it to my ear. I couldn't dial it. And at that time, it was one of the flip phones, or the flips open. And I said, I'd like to use my cell phone. You know, what do you have for me? And I think the therapists weren't quite prepared for that challenge. And they kind of looked at each other a little bit and said, well, let's work with this rubber pencil holder first. And I remember thinking, well, geez, I can buy that at Target. You know, and I went back to my room and spent the next 8 months researching everything I could, essentially becoming an expert on being disabled, and or at least more knowledgeable on being disabled. I guess I had a lot of things to learn. But 2 or 3 months later, I created a voice-controlled cell phone system for myself, and as I'd be going through the hallways, talking to people, you know, of course people started asking me, where'd you get that? I want one. And I suppose that's kind of the impetus of where everything started.
And so you were still in the rehab center, and toward that end of that part of that, you developed the power grip?
Yes, as I was towards the last month, I saw one of these orthoses lying on the table, and I asked the therapist, what is that? You know, it looked like something that would help someone who doesn't have hand function to do things. And they said, well, it's for somebody who has strong wrist extension or has the ability to lift up their wrist like this. I actually don't. I had tendon transfer surgery, so I have this ability kind of weakly. But it's called a tenodesis, or wrist-driven hand orthosis. And they said, well, we never showed it to you because you couldn't use it. And I remember just thinking, maybe it's the engineer in me, but I just said, well, geez, it just needs a motor. And so I did some research and found that powered orthoses existed from the 1960s to the 80s in various forms, especially for quadriplegics from polio. But as the polio vaccine reduced the numbers of new quads from polio, the companies that offer those solutions kind of went away also. And so I remember the last day I was moving out of the rehabilitation center and into my home, I had started using the power grip for the first time.
And is this the power grip?
This is the power grip. So now it's available to orthotists nationwide through Jayco Orthopedics or Becca, Oregon, the 2 biggest national suppliers of orthotics equipment. And what it does is it opens and closes your fingers up against your thumb in a key pinch grasp, so you can pick up and hold things like a fork, can of soda, bottle of beer when you're out with your buddies, you know, whatever, maybe a magazine, you know, whatever, things in your environment. We all need to pick up and manipulate things.
And it was being controlled by your left hand?
Yes. Here on the side of my wheelchair, we have
I can see that.
Okay, the roughneck switches. And so I just nudge one button. Oops. Nudge one button to close my hand, and nudge the other button to open my hand. And so I just do that with the side of this hand, and kind of as you saw when I was sitting here doing it, it quickly becomes just second nature. I don't even think about it.
Right. Amazing.
Or for those who only have movement in one arm, we also offer it with either a sip and puff switch that you can insert up through your shirt. So you just put your mouth down and blow or suck to open and close your hand. Or we also have a new EMG switch that'll hook right up on your platysmal muscle. And you simply flex I'm exaggerating right now, but flex that the muscle in your lower neck, and you can do that to open and close your hand in that manner. I have a video on the website, on the Power Grip page, showing how that works.